My name is Nancy Gibson, and I have lived in Minnesota for about 30 years. Moved here from Ohio, and I was attracted to Minnesota because of all the wildlife resources that there are in Minnesota. So I got involved with the International Wolf Center, started that with Dr. Dave Meach, and then got myself involved with the Environmental Trust Fund, which takes the proceeds from the lottery and puts it towards wildlife and other preservation issues in Minnesota. I've been able to travel the state, seeing all the wonderful landscapes that we have here, but also seeing all the problems that we have here as well. People tend to think of Minnesota with the big mammals and some of the big fish. They really want to see wolves, they want to see moose, they might want to see bears. They probably don't even know that they're seeing martens. They might hear an otter. Most people don't know that we have 80 different types of mammals living in Minnesota. What's wonderful about Minnesota is the ecological integrity, or we also call it biodiversity, that we have. I've counted 17 species of birds here already this winter. A wide variety of birds either migrate through or nest in Minnesota. I think there's over 400 of those. I've spent a lot of time working with wolves, and of course they're part of the megafauna community. But what people don't understand, they are really the engineers of biodiversity. They're at top of the food chain. When they take down a moose or a deer, that starts that whole cycle of life into motion. So wolves will devour up to 18 pounds of meat. And you can imagine after that, they go into this sort of post-Thanksgiving motion where they're just lying still, sleeping, and often will leave the carcass and just go off and sleep off some of that food. That's when the scavengers come into play. First to arrive are the ravens. They always follow wolf packs. And once they get close to a kill, they make a lot of noise. And those raucous calls are really like a dinner bell that come off for a lot of other species. And they take turns. Once the ravens are full, then the blue jays come in, the woodpeckers, the chickadees, the nuthatches. And then once those daytime animals go off, the night shift arrives. The coyotes, the foxes, the martens, the fishers, they come in and start scavenging off some of those leftovers. And then the insect population starts coming in. And then that attracts songbirds like robins and wrens and warblers. After all this happens, then you're just left with the nutrients that then take over and nurture the ground, and the new plants start coming up, and the deer and the moose are right there with the new grasses. So it really completes the cycle of life. What really makes Minnesota special is the biodiversity. And if we could get a little more advertisement, a little more brochure time on some of those smaller animals that are at the bottom of the food chain, they would begin to learn what makes Minnesota a real unique place.